Welcome back to Kaulignation, your one-stop shop for all things Kaulig Racing, Dingernation, SVGNation, and all things NASCAR. I'm Sean. Thank you for joining me on this Monday evening as we dissect the first race in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Darlington. What a night it was. What a night of events. And we're going to take a look at what happened with SVG, what didn't go right, things they could have done differently. A wild night for AJ Allmendinger at Darlington. Before we get started, though, we want to remind you for bonus content to gain access to the Kaulig and Trackhouse Nation podcast, our long-form podcast, you need to sign up for Patreon. Patreon.com/Kaulignation. The rates are affordable. We offer a bunch of long-form content over there. We strongly encourage you to check it out. It helps us really keep the channel going at the level that we are. And our multiple choice question for this video is, do you think SVG still has a good chance of making it out of the round of 16? Yes, no, or you're unsure. Comment down below and share your thoughts there. We would love the engagement. We're a small channel that punches above its weight class in terms of views in comparison to subs. And every thumbs up that you leave, every comment that you leave, we make an effort to respond to all your comments so that you'll respond to us again. The engagement helps battle the very unfair YouTube algorithm. So if you guys wouldn't mind helping us out with a thumbs up and a comment, we would appreciate it. Let's move on to Shane Van Gisbergen, the man himself. Look, he comes in with 4 wins in the playoffs. He's 16 points up on the cut line when the race starts. Ryan and I have been saying for a bit now that Darlington was the race that him and that team had to take advantage of. And we thought, considering his past runs there and his ability to figure out the track later in the race, his ability to save and conserve tires would play well for him as long as we got some long green flag runs. And we did get some long green flag runs last night. We got some shorter runs as well, but we got some long green flag runs. But, the problem is this. The driver can only do so much. And, it's why the video is titled Nightmare at Darlington for SVG and team. Because it's exactly what they didn't need to happen. Now, does that mean it's over? No. But it does make advancing a whole lot harder. Look, they unloaded off the truck. You spend all this time, believe me, prepping for the playoff races happens way, way earlier than your standard regular season race. They've been preparing for this race for some time. And to unload as bad as they did, honestly, you guys hear how critical I can be of Kaulig at times when AJ's left out to dry. The Trackhouse boys and Mint Exo race, sorry if that's not how you pronounce it, if you're listening right now, I'm going to back what you've been saying all year long, man. I don't think I've been nearly as critical as Trackhouse as you have, but you cannot unload off the truck the way that they did. He was running P30 lap times on 15 and 20 lap averages off the truck. Unacceptable for a playoff car. And I'm not holding SVG responsible for any of this because I've seen what he's been able to do at this track. And then in qualifying, he picked them up. Despite only running P30 lap times, he went out there and stuck that sucker inside the top 20 for a top 20 starting position. That's exactly where you want to be. They made a bunch of adjustments after practice, and they went the wrong way with it. SVG was incredibly critical of the car last night, and then he started to wear some blame himself, and I get it. And he's such a humble dude, and he doesn't want to put the whole blame on the team. And sponsor of the channel, Lynn over at SVGNation on Facebook, sent me something where, SVG called the team his greatest strength and himself his greatest weakness, but that wasn't the case last night. SVG was doing everything he could with very little. That car was poor handling all night to the point where he was losing laps, at times 2 laps down, and it's just hard to be competitive when that's going on. But the other thing that you can't have is you can't go down pit road, 7 or 8 times in a race and have all those stops be in the 13 to 15 second time range. You guys have heard on this channel how critical I've been over AJ Allmendinger's pit crew. Allmendinger's pit crew yesterday, almost all their stops were in the 9-second range, and that's a non-playoff team. By the way, Allmendinger's pit crew trains with SVG's pit crew. They go through their training over at Trackhouse. And AJ, now again, there's confusion about, who owns what pit crew and what they can do with it. It's our belief, from what Chris Rice has said, that Kaulig actually owns their pit crew, but they run out of the Trackhouse shop. They do all their training over there. It's a lease they have with them. But AJ had a pit stop that was 8.11 seconds. It sent him from 15th to 8th. 15th to 8th. Meanwhile, the guy that is in the playoffs, you're pitting him and they're getting 13 to 15 second pit stops? Under green, too? It's a death sentence. It's not Alex Bowman level of bad, where it's 40 seconds on pit road and you lose 2 laps just like that. But you need to give your driver a chance. You have a poor handling car that you went the wrong way on. You're unable to make adjustments to improve it. The one area you can help them out is get onto pit road, gain them a few spots, and that can be a confidence booster. And instead, they were basically negative spots every single time on pit road. And despite falling all the way back to 34th at one point, SVG had raced his way up back into like 26, past 8 cars on a green flag run, and they decided that they were going to run it long. And I get it. And you want to try to take it from a 2-stop strategy to a 1-stop strategy. But you need to have some things play out your way. SVG got lucky one other time earlier in the race when he was 2 laps down, and the caution came out. Sorry, got lucky twice. Once he was the lucky dog, raced his way all the way up there and got it. And then the other time, he was about to go 2 laps down and was able to stay 1 lap down. So there was some fortune there, but then they got nailed on that long run, and it killed them. That was it. That was the curtain call on the night, and there's just really nothing you can do. It went about as bad as it could, and yet, while it was almost the worst case scenario for that team, there's some silver lining. SVG worked through it, and he's still in the playoffs. Yes, all those bonus points from the road courses that he earned, those 4 wins, are basically out the window. He went from being 16 points up on the cut line to 3. And that's going to be difficult heading to a track that he's never been to. Should be able to lean on Ross Chastain a bit. We're going to talk about that in a future video this week. And then Bristol, which he admittedly does not like. He is going to be in the fight for his playoff life the next 2 weekends. But the flip side to that is SVG could be 5 or 6 points out of the playoffs right now. But because of multiple problems to Alex Bowman and Josh Berry and Ryan Blaney and even Chase Elliott, there was, I think, 10 or 11 playoff drivers had issues last night, which is crazy. Darlington's a beast, though. It's the lady in black, and it was taking more victims from than Michael Myers in the Halloween franchise. But that's where we are. So take it for what you will. In a future video this week, we are going to discuss Will Brown and what happened there. And shout out to AJ Allmendinger, who went out there and performed at an incredibly high level last night, had a chance at winning that thing, was consistently running top 3 lap times, got run over by Kyle Larson on a restart when he had no right on going, and he's trying to jump the restart, which, to Danny Hamlin's credit, he's pointed out that 5 team does all the time, and it lifted all 4 of AJ's tires off the ground. But total team effort there, great pit stops all night, great adjustments on the car, and great driving led to a top 5 at one of NASCAR's gems. Shout out to that team. Like, comment, subscribe for bonus content. Sign up at patreon.com/Kaulignation. And, we would appreciate the engagement, so please take the time to do so. And we will see each and every one of you in the next video. And shout out to Alex, Dingernation. Big night. Thanks for sponsoring.